Hey friends, it's Charles here, and as you know, if you are a nerd like myself, it is WrestleMania week. So we're going to be seeing a lot of shows from a lot of different companies, the WrestleMania stuff, and a lot of features on professional wrestling. And I figured I might as well do a video focused on that. And I just happened to catch up with last Tuesday's episode of Dark Side of the Ring about Harley Race, and as usual, they knock it out of the park. Now, me, I am in my mid 40s, and so Harley Race was a guy who I saw around the periphery of the guys that I liked, but I knew nothing about him. Honestly, he was like an old guy. He looked tough, but not really intimidating. But they really it was a very educational episode for someone like myself, starting with, I started wrestling in the sideshows, the carnivals, as a teenager. And his tag team with Kurt Hennig's father. And, how he got thrust into the main event scene in the NWA territory because they wanted to get the title off of Dory Funk. And Dory Funk's father, who was running a territory, was like, okay, we can get the title off him, but I don't want him to lose clean to another good guy. And so the combination of Hennig's retirement mixed with Dory Funk's time coming to an end was like a perfect, opportunity for Harley Race to step up to the main event. And man, did he take the ball and run with it. But along with the highs, there were a lot of lows. Substance abuse, dysfunctional relationships, a lot of injuries. He worked a very rough style of wrestling, which took its toll. And I've heard in the past that, he regretted inventing the diving headbutt because, you think about two of the other wrestlers who used it, actually three, Dynamite Kid, he ended up invalid, disabled and having, a lot of mental issues from suspected CTE because of the move. We all know what happened with Chris Benoit. And that move also really shortened the career of Daniel Brian Danielson. And it's good fortune that he was able to come back and that, his head is clear. But, it goes to show that, Harley Race was, on the forefront of thinking about, worker safety issues and kind of the result of, such a physical style. But more than anything I got from the episode is that, yeah, it took a toll on him physically, mentally, but he was a survivor. Not always a great decision maker, but a survivor nonetheless. A very important cornerstone of the American professional wrestling landscape. Um, Even after he had to leave the in-ring work, he was still mentoring. And I thought one of the cool things about this episode in particular is they had two main narrators. The first was Trevor Murdoch, two-time NWA champion, and they had him interviewed because he was one of his students, and so he gave a lot of insight into Harley Race and what his mindset was in the later years, and they had like a familial bond. And the other main narrator was Harley himself from interviews from when he was still here. And, I thought it was a great episode. It is called Dark Side of the Ring. And a lot of these episodes are kind of tough to get through because of the darkness in them. And it's like, yeah, the guy had his issues. He had his legal troubles. He had his substance abuse and relationship issues. Um, but he was an underdog from the get go. And just through sheer grit and not giving up, became a legend in professional wrestling. If you haven't seen Dark Side of the Ring on Vice TV and you're a wrestling fan, I can't recommend it enough. They're in season 5, and I can't think of an episode I haven't liked. And they delve from some of the more lighthearted, wacky trouble that these wrestlers have gotten into some really tragic stuff that really puts into perspective of what these guys go through to entertain us as wrestling fans. And so that's my thoughts on the Harley Race episode of Dark Side of the Ring. Happy wrestling. Happy WrestleMania week. Let me know in the comments what you guys are going to be watching. I'm looking forward to. I can't afford it. But I'm definitely going to be trolling YouTube for some of the GCW highlights because the GCW collective is putting on a lot of shows. They have the Clusterfuck Battle Royal at Joey Janela's Spring Break, which is going to have 80 men. That is the definition of a clusterfuck. They named it appropriately. There's Florida Culture. You're going to have Darius Carter, I think, main eventing it, which is nice to see him get some shine and get some love, and hopefully this will be some bigger things for him. Effie's Big Gay Brunch event. And then Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, I think, happens Thursday. And that's going to be a real milestone in professional wrestling because you're going to have Masha Slamovich from TNA Wrestling going up against Shayna Baszler from WWE Wrestling at a GCW event. What the hell is going on with professional wrestling in 2024? Gets you hot. So I'm going to be looking for a few matches on YouTube, some highlights, and see what's going on there. Catch some TNA wrestling probably tomorrow. If you guys want to see more reviews of wrestling shows, be it TNA Impact, I watch that on a regular basis. WoW Wrestling, I watch that on a regular basis. I like to keep track of AEW. I don't watch WWE, but I hear they're doing great things. Let me know if you like this kind of content and want more. And if there's some wrestling that I'm not hip to that you want to suggest, feel free to drop it in the comments. Anyway, that's been my thoughts on Harley Race, Dark Side of the Ring episode. And you guys have a good one. Enjoy them wrestling shows.